A very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. I'm Michaela Fernando. Before heading to your stories in detail, here's a look at headlines.
Case filed against former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa to be taken up daily at the Permanent High Court trial at Bar from the 22nd of January. Steps taken to further expand the excavation area of the Mana mass grave. Workers of the plantation company in Chilau stage a protest for the second consecutive day today. China's space mission Chang'e 4 lands on the moon's far side. New Zealand set Sri Lanka a target of 372.
Now in your top story for this hour, the case filed against former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and 6 others for the misappropriation of 33.9 million rupees in public funds for the construction of the DA Rajapaksa Memorial and Museum will be taken up again on the 11th of January by the Permanent High Court trial at Bar.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the first defendant in the case, is currently overseas with approval from court and was not present for the hearing today. However, the other 6 defendants were present in court. The case was taken up daily at the Permanent High Court trial at Bar from the 22nd of January. Meanwhile, the case filed against former President's Chief of Staff Gamini Senarath and 3 others were under 24 separate indictments for misappropriation of 500 million rupees from Litro Gas Company was taken up before the Permanent High Court trial at Bar for the examination of evidence.
UPFA parliamentarian Bandula Gunawardena expressed the following views at a media briefing in Colombo.
The biggest problem of the economy is the rising interest rates. Certain entrepreneurial sections have collapsed now, and certain entrepreneurs have now come to a place where they consider committing suicide because they are not in a position to settle debts. We will have to stop agreements like the Sri Lanka-Singapore FTA that was unfavorable for the country and the economy. If we don't stop it, these agreements will let imports flow to the country without a hindrance. It will demotivate the local manufacturers. We should stop these disastrous agreements from taking place.
In more local news, new students were enrolled to the science faculty of the University of Peradeniya yesterday. The event was held under the auspices of the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, Professor Upul Disanayaka.
540 students were enrolled to the University of Peradeniya. Parents are now worrying about ragging in university, but there is no need for that. Respective authorities and student unions are working together to eradicate ragging at all universities. I request the students to work with determination to completely eradicate ragging across universities. It is also the responsibility of parents to keep a close watch on their children who enter universities.
Workers of the Chilau Plantations Company staged a protest for the second consecutive day today. The protest was staged obstructing the entrance of the head office of the Chilau Plantations Company. The protesters charged that the daily wage of 615 per day is not sufficient. Attempts made by Newsfirst to contact the general manager of the Chilau Plantations Company to inquire about the situation were futile. In more local news, 16 people were injured in an accident when a van travelling from Hapugasthalava along the Hatton-Bagavanthalava main road.
The accident took place close to the Champions Petraso estate. 16 passengers were injured in the accident and were admitted to the Bagavanthalava Divisional Hospital. 2 people were killed in an accident in the Diyagampala Kotadeniyana area last night. According to our correspondent, this accident took place when a bowser collided with a motorbike which was travelling from the opposite direction. 2 people who were travelling in the motorbike were killed. The deceased were residents of the Diyagampala area. The driver of the bowser was arrested and remanded until the 14th after being produced before the Minuwangoda Magistrates Court.
In more local news, a police constable attached to the Gurunadurakote police was sentenced to 8 years of rigorous imprisonment by the Colombo High Court for soliciting a bribe of 3,000 rupees to not enforce the law over a traffic violation.
Colombo High Court Judge Shashi Mahendran issued the order over a case filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. The Bribery Commission filed the case against a suspect on 4 separate charges for soliciting a bribe on the 22nd of May 2014.
In further local news, a caterpillar infestation is reported from the Dolaha Ela area in Rambeva in Anuradhapura.
A correspondent said that the caterpillars are seen on a bo tree located near a Buddhist place of worship. According to a correspondent, the caterpillars have now spread to several other areas in the region as well. The residents claim the caterpillar infestation has been spreading rapidly for over 3 weeks. They request the authorities to provide a solution for this issue.
Steps have been taken to further expand the excavation area of the Mannar mass grave.
Specialist Judicial Medical Officer Shamindra Rajapaksa, who is in charge of the excavation, said the excavations at the site recommenced yesterday after a brief suspension since December 21st. Today would mark 122 days since the first excavation took place at the site. So far, 283 skeletal remains were recovered from the Mannar mass grave and 274 of them have been placed at a special enclosure at the Mannar Magistrates Court. Specialist Judicial Medical Officer Shamindra Rajapaksa said among the recovered bones, experts suspect some could belong to 21 children. In addition, a special team is to fly to the United States of America to ensure the confidentiality of the samples recovered from the mass grave are secure. The team will comprise of the Specialist Judicial Medical Officer, a member of the Office of Missing Persons and a police officer. 6 samples recovered from the mass grave were moved for carbon dating following approval from the Mannar Court.